All right, so this video is going to show you how I modified my Art 1 lesson about value. So here's a student example of a still life in value that they have shaded from observation, and then my kids had to personalize it a little bit, so some of them chose like paper to glue in, and then we did these tape transfers that were like interactive. So that's, you know, like an Art 1. This is a good Art 1 kid, okay, 10th grader. So the modification is to also create a still life, but we did it a little bit differently. They had to learn still life. They learned that vocabulary. They made a still life. It just ended up a little differently. And then that was my teacher example. And then here we did a variation. The one girl loved paint, so she got to paint around hers. So that's like where we're at. So here's how we did it. I drew some still life objects on Mapboard, and then I coated them with like Elmer's glue and let it dry overnight. And so basically it's like a rubbing plate, and I did that for a whole bunch of like traditional still life objects that were at the table where they were sitting. So that was a sphere. And then what they did, they took paper. And I will say, none of the kids I have any severe sensory issues with like clay or anything like that. So this may bother some kids, but basically I pre-peeled some crayons, and it's hard to do this with one hand, but you get it. So they rub their still life, and now instead of drawing it, they've rubbed it, right? So they have their object now, and they do that in all different colors for all the different shapes. And then the next day they come in and they can find, I have this like bin of different rubbing plates that I use with clay sometimes. So then I put this on top, and I had them pick a different color. It had to be different contrasting color. And then this was a little harder. They had to work with their buddy to get it. And we did, for some of the kids, tape down this to the table so it wouldn't move, and you could tape this down too, and it's okay if it goes out of the lines. So they did that, and they like colored all theirs. And then the next time they came in, hand over hand or independent or not at all, cutting, and I have obviously smaller scissors, and we tried to cut along the edge. For some of the kids, I had the aid like outline, you know, with a black Sharpie where you want them to cut or to do dash lines, and then they rough cut it, and you can see, you know, they did a pretty good job, some of them, with that. And that might be a goal for some of the kids, just to learn how to use scissors better, so that's good. And then when they put it together, they got something like this. And one of the girls went in and painted it, and what I had them do was have the peer buddy tape down like another piece of paper in case they painted over it. But you can see that peer buddy did not understand that the tape would also mask that out. So then today I'm going to have them go in, and I'm going to help them with this and try and fix that up a bit. But I think that's so good. And this girl, really, she's nonverbal. She made her still life, and she'll have a lot of fine motor. And I think this is just so beautiful. I'm so proud of her. So that's that. Then some of the lower kids, I had prepped this, but we didn't actually use it. I printed out different still life, and I was afraid that some of them wouldn't like the feeling, you know, of the rubbing. So I thought they could color their still life and then cut them out, and then the aid could help them create a still life of their own. Okay, and then plus I had some of my really high kids just draw on the still life. Instead of 5 objects, you know, maybe they had 1, 2, 3 objects, and then sometimes we would cut some of, you know, cut things out and paste it on, and just keeping them working with still life, but doing it their own way. So that's kind of what I did. Thanks.